A special welcome to you all watching us on SollyTV News, where we educate, inform you on recent happenings all around the world. I'm Leke Solange and thanks for joining us. On today's special edition of the program, we will be talking about how the lockdown has affected a common person, albeit any walks of life. If you would like to participate on today's edition of the program, just drop a comment on the comment section below. Tell us how this lockdown has affected you directly or indirectly. So we will take a commercial break, and when we will be back, you will be meeting my guests on today's edition. Welcome back. Of course, I'm not all-knowing to discuss such topic of great magnitude. I have two resourceful and brilliant persons in the house. They will join heads with me to talk about what is currently going on in the country. So permit me to welcome on set Mr. Desmond Yule, as many will call him Desmond Tutu. You're welcome, sir, on the program.
Thank you, Madam Leke Solange. Thank you, televiewers, for having me on this platform. I am humbled and delighted to be on SollyTV.
We are definitely humbled and delighted to have you on today's edition, Mr. Desmond Tutu. Pleased to welcome on set the eloquent Mr. Boris Dam on the program. You're welcome, sir, and thanks for joining.
Thank you, Leke Solange. It is a privilege for me to be part of today's program of the SollyTV.
We are definitely pleased to have you both on the program. Just to let our viewers know that you're both residents of the Emirates. Definitely, we know of people who cannot afford a 3 square meals. Does this common video that has gone viral of a certain lady that is actually decrying, talking about how this virus has actually been unable to let her displore and take care of her family? Let's just take a look at this video and we'll be right back to discuss on this.
They invite us to sit at home. They have to provide what we are going to need for us. As we are inside the house, no food for us. You see many people at the house and no money to buy nothing for them. No store food. We don't have anything to eat at our house.
He said the key. If the key is going to sit down for our 2 weeks. Now what I want to do now? Food I not get. 2 weeks they're supposed to sit down for us. And they pay la part, they pay gloomy. My husband had the right balance I take. How we go to survive? I tell you, I say government, if you make it help us. If you help us now, we're ready to stay for us 1 year. But now nothing, no food. Our brother, because I don't even tire. I don't know where I can't go now. I don't go fetch water now. That's not what I mean. My children go to drink. I don't tire.
You're welcome back. We both know there are actually families out there that are struggling to make ends meet, just to put food on their table, because eating is fundamental. So we don't know how working from home with such a situation of those that are buy and sellers, people that taxi drivers, how this virus is directly affecting them. How are they going to put food on the table for their families? So Mr. Desmond, permit me to ask you the rhetorical questions that are going through people's minds, and till when will this come to an end?
Well, thank you once again, Madam Solange. To start with your question, when will it come to an end? That, I leave it up to God. And at this moment, you would see how the common man on the street, how this greatly affects a lot of people out there, you know. But then I must say that it is our responsibility, and that of the nations which we find ourselves, our governments put in place to help and bring this situation in such a way that it can be handled. Okay, so the lockdown itself, look at the situation of the lady out there. This will tell you that a lot of people are lamenting. Now, scarcity of food, medication, they're staying at home. Now, we are looking at a tendency where people will now be staying at home and won't be able to feed as well. So that's why I said that it is our responsibility. Now, what have we been doing? Have we been planning for situations like this? Now, what is our government doing in situations like this? So it is a call for consent.
Yeah, though the government says we should stay at home, just maintain the basic hygiene, social distancing. The social distancing, Mr. Boris, I believe that this lady is just telling the government that it's not only about staying at home, it's about maybe doing an extra way to provide for those that are not able to take care of their families while staying safe, right? So what do you think the government can do? We actually appreciate what scientists out there are doing, the government and the people that are putting heads to ensure that this virus comes to an end. But then, Mr. Boris, what do you think can be another possible solution for people that are not privileged?
Yeah, well, I think the solution to this crisis indeed rests on the private individual, the personal individual. Because I've seen cases where government is subsidizing some industries, some companies, and in turn these compensations are going to the employees. And you begin to talk like if the government should look into the case of everyone in the economy, I don't think that is possible. It's left now on the individual to look into it. What can I do? Since the situation like this, it's out of hand. Even the government, everyone is confused. We don't know what Corona holds for us tomorrow. Everyone is confused. I cannot assure you that if the government say distribute $10,000 for each and every citizen is the solution to this crisis. I don't think that is the final solution to that.
Yes, that's quite correct. You mentioned rural areas, which I think it is a point to really, we have to also be very attentive to that. There are places, that's true, that people are not well informed, okay? Now, we may assume that coronavirus measures, the hygiene, social distancing, we may think that a lot of people out there are well informed, like we are.
Very correct.
But not everyone is that close to social media like we do. And it is quite correct that in some very interior areas, in the rural areas, some people are not well informed. And now we are not looking at how can they also benefit, even if the government want to really make some food available to them. Now, you understand that in every community, in every rural area, there are some leaders. There are people who know about the census, who know how many inhabitants are in these areas. So why don't we start from there? We can say, okay, fine. They can start by coming up with the number of persons in this area, and the government will now identify themselves as leaders. Now, you understand that even during this period, deliveries still take place. So the government can as well be making deliveries to these rural areas, and they can only do that in with assistance from the leaders in these areas.
Yes, so, and it's important to just to add that those doing the deliveries, they should protect themselves. They should at least have hand gloves and masks to protect themselves from being contaminated, right?
Yes.
From having this coronavirus. Yeah. Sorry for cutting you.
No, that's quite correct. It's quite very important. A lot of people are not still well educated as far as hygiene is concerned. Like I mentioned, a lot of people still don't understand when you talk of social distancing. People are still asking questions. How do you mean? Does it mean I shouldn't talk to my friend? Does it mean I have to stand from like a very long distance before talking? So let's also look at what would be the effect in the rural areas. How can the government reach? Like I said, those who are leaders in these areas, they can come up, point out, they have a list, they have census. Now, the government will be working with them to make sure that deliveries, as far as food, medics, medical practitioners who will be there to educate, and as far as this food is going around, they will also be telling them one or two things, So I think we can put this as measures, Mr. Boris, and see how we can make this thing work.
Yeah, in addition to what you've just said, I think the government as well need to look into it to see that maybe if they can train some experts to go and educate the population. Like we've seen cases, people are jumping out of their houses, going into the street, hiding from police, thinking maybe they are safe. But then, if these people are well informed of the danger of this virus itself, I don't think they will go out. They will not just go for the food, but they will prefer to stay safe, stay indoors and save their life. I think these people in the rural areas, they need to be well informed about this, not just the food. And even if we're giving them the food, we need to make sure they can handle this food. Because to have the food is one thing,
sure.
And to handle the food is another one.
Yeah.
Anything else you forget to pinpoint, maybe in the course of the discussion?
Yes, and not just pinpoint. He already talked about not just delivering food,
Okay.
but the food going along with medical practitioners, medical officials, experts.
Yeah.
He mentioned that already. And remember, in rural areas, like I said before, these people, not all of them follow social media. Not all of them are able to listen to news, watch televisions like we do. Okay, so just to add to what he's saying, I made mention of the fact that in every rural area there are some leaders who can communicate with the government as these distributions of whether food or medical or medics and all that. So it's all about collaborating, working in hand. People work hand in hand with the government, follow rules and regulations being laid down for us to follow. This can apply in the rural areas. The elders standing up, identify themselves, knowing how many persons in each area, so the government can work hand in hand with them to see that whatever they have, just like we said, they might not have enough, but the little that they have can be able to sustain life.
Yeah, I'd just like to talk about something that happened in a country. I think it's best for me to just keep it a secret, where some taxi drivers are planning to strike because now there's a lot of social distancing even in the taxis. Not more than 2 to 3 persons are to be found seated in a taxi just for your own safety. So these drivers have actually decided to revolt, to strike, because limited people in the taxi means less income for them a day. So the government was trying to look into this matter to ensure that these drivers do not strike. But then with SollyTV News, we will keep you updated on how this revolt went and how the government looked into this matter to resolve the crime. We know that actually taxi drivers, they are struggling to take care of their families, and it's not easy. Actually, it's not easy. Though people have died, it's not easy to take care of feeding back at home.
Yes, just to add to what you said, it is true that the government is fighting, and we must work with the government. All they're doing is to try to save life. Now, I wish just to mention, as far as government laws are concerned, one thing I ask myself, I watch a video on social media where governments, we don't know that if the governments are the one actually behind certain things, or individuals use this as some kind of, let me not use the word racist. I watch a video whereby, I don't know if it's the government, sending out, restricting, taking out people from their apartments, people from taking them out of their apartments and sending them to the streets, make them homeless, and they say these are measures to curb the spread of coronavirus. So I think that the kind of laws laid down by governments, I think they should really look at them as well.
So based on what you earlier said, we have details of this story where the Chinese government are kicking Africans in China on the street. So you can check details of this story in our previous newscast on SollyTV News.